Hey pilots, this is Homebrewman23 and I would just like to give you guys a quick review of this Blitzrcworks F16 from Banana Hobby. It's a $109 plane, and for that price you would expect something pretty small. It's actually quite large, as you will see in the specs. Here's the plane next to a 17-inch laptop. So as you can see, it's quite large of a plane. And as for assembly time, this plane took a lot longer to build than my typical Banana Hobby plane. Normally you glue the wings on and that's pretty much it. This plane, all the servo horns had to be put on. The wires all inside the fuselage where the fan unit, right in front of the fan unit, the ESC, it was somewhat taped in, but mostly it was just hanging down to be sucked into the fan. So that took a hell of a lot of ingenuity working through a small hole. As you can see, this plane comes with a mock landing gear hole that's not functional, but it's also an intake. So that ESC was hanging right out. I had to do some zip tying and some hot gluing to get everything nice and secured in there. Not real impressed about that. It must have been done on a Friday or something. Other things I don't like, there's a lot of slop in the control surfaces. Not so much the ailerons, but the tailerons or elevators, whatever you want to call them, are really, as you can see, a lot of slop to it, and it's just flexing the cheap servo horns and flexing the plastic shaft that holds this on. That should have been metal. Okay, Blitzrcworks, that shaft should have been metal. Should have extended into the elevator too, just to rigid it up. No big deal. I think it'll still fly just fine. These bombs are magnetic, okay? The magnets seem really strong, but I really don't think, I think a crosswind is going to knock these babies right off, So I won't be maidening it with the bombs on. I am going to be doing a video of me flying this thing for you guys. So the wingtip bombs are permanent. I'm pretty sure they're going to strip off the second something bad happens. There's a spear coming off the nose tip here. It was longer. It already broke off just in the process of building it, transporting it up and down. And so, okay, Blitzrcworks, not really the best way to do that. I know you're keeping it scale and stuff, but as far as this intake here, pretty thin. Pretty sure the second you try to belly land this thing, that's going to cave right in. So this is a takeoff from one runway plane only. Also, this carrier that comes out the bottom doesn't seem to come off, but the shaft comes out of it. So maybe that's to protect this in a belly landing incident. I think if you were going to belly land it, you could probably rig up something to protect this. And the rear landing gear pulls straight out. Now, something I absolutely love about this plane, the bottom of it is fantastic looking. I mean, the paint is right on. It's huge. The servos are transparent red, so you can see the insides of them. Very, very, very nice job, at least on this paint scheme. Beautiful. Okay. Now, what else do I want to say here? Comes with a large battery, 2200 milliamp an hour 4-cell. This is a huge battery. It velcros in. The center of gravity was pretty good right there. That's about all the way forward, unless you remove some material here. The servo wires were labeled improperly, a couple of them. really not a big deal because I'm smart enough to figure out that you plug something in, test it, doesn't work, plug it in somewhere else. You know, process of illumination, you'll be able to figure it out. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 were labeled properly. There was 2 6s for some reason, and these were all labeled improperly for the thrust vectoring. Really not a big deal for me. Might be for you. So this is the harder plane I've built from Banana Hobby, but still a very, very good buy at $109. But by the time you add a battery, which is $30, doesn't include on this particular plane, and shipping, you're looking at more like $160, depending on where you live at. Still not terrible, you know. This is a lot cheaper than what you would find something like this at a hobby store. So I do appreciate Banana Hobby making things like this available, because as I'm getting better at flying and more deserving of being a jet pilot, I'm actually not destroying my plane so much anymore. So something like this should give me a lot of enjoyment. So I'm going to go ahead and say this plane is for advanced pilots only, or at least confident pilots. Make sure you have some kind of experience. And I don't know if I mentioned, it has 360-degree thrust vectoring, which the ends had to be tightened in on some of them, loosened out. Wasn't trimmed quite properly. Again, not a big deal, but be absolutely certain to double check every surface and triple check everything before you go out flying this thing. Because if you try to fly with a thrust vector nozzle that's crooked from the get-go, you're going to have some trimming issues, big time. I opted for the $5 pilot. Quickly, I'll tell you, you get a full rubber pilot. He's all the way from head to toe. He's there. I ended up having to cut him in half to get him to fit into this plane. He does look a tiny, tiny bit big for this plane, so I guess they just give you a generic pilot for any plane that you order it for. So pretty impressed there. Fully painted, nice rubber pilot. A little on the heavy side, but once you cut him in half, it's negligible. That's really about all I wanted to say about this plane. So stay tuned for flight video. Thank you for watching.